Nabadde kiro sawa nga munana ndi mu nnyumba wange nebase nempulirawo omuntu aŋŋamba
Kakati viewers baffe ekiddako, we're going to show you more footage that we brought for you from the Uganda High Commission. I hope you enjoy it.
Whenever Ugandans meet, they talk about politics, which I find very disturbing because I see it as a distortion of priorities. For me, the most important priority is economics. You cannot do good politics if you have no economic power. If you are poor, you might have a lot of knowledge, a lot to give, but very few people will pay attention to it. And you would find that the most influential people in many of these countries are not the people with the high academic qualifications or what, but the people who have the money. The Duke of Westminster, an example. In any case, don't misunderstand me. Say in a country like Uganda today, before you do the budget, you call in Mr. Mugwana to ask him about what he feels about the budget. I've seen it happen many times. Whenever they do the budget, they have to talk to Mr. Mugwana, to Gordon Wavamuno, to Karim, to see what they feel about the budget. And those are the people who really make things happen. Which means that politics should not be the first thing people think about. People should think about their economic position. And for me, whenever I meet people, I don't want to talk about many other things. I talk about economics. Because we are now celebrating 50 years of independence. 50 years ago, you can't believe it. South Korea's economy was a third of what Uganda's economy was in 1962. Equally, it was a third of what Ghana's economy was in 1962. Our GDP per capita was $240 at the prices of 1962. And in 1962, 1 shilling was, rather 7 shillings made a dollar. Multiply that with 240 by 7, and today's GDP per capita is 560. Multiply that by 2,500 and you see the difference. Because the purchasing power has... So we have gone back. The Koreans had their GDP at $80. The per capita income was $80. Today, they are the 9th biggest economy in the world. Hardly do you find there people being humiliated outside the country. What has distressed me most is that the way you find Africans being treated in Europe, how they are deported. They take them manacled on chains as if they have killed people and they are murderers. You would never find a South Korean or a Malaysian being humiliated like that. And yet 50 years ago we are better off than. What went wrong? Why are we what we are today? Why are we where we are today? And it is because all of us have not done what we are supposed to do. Let's not talk about politicians. They have their own VP. Perhaps they don't do it properly. But no politician has ever come to you and tell you, don't grow cassava for commercial purposes. Ask yourself why, if in a country where there is hunger, in a region where there is a food deficit, you cannot grow cassava and sell it across the border. People say we have no capital. I always ask, I always tell them that the biggest capital that you have is your life. And you have 2 hands and 2 legs and your head. You have the head to judge what you can do. You have the hands with which to do it. And you have the legs to carry you where you want to go. Don't think about, say, if I have 1 million shillings, I will be able to do that. No. Greater empires have started, economic empires that is, have started with very small amounts. Mr. Buwana told me his story one time. We were in the Cumberland. And I asked him, how did you start? He said, you know, I used to be a very humble person. I used to be a driver of someone. I escorted this someone to Germany. But my boss was buying silk ties. I went to a junkyard and I picked a machine that makes toothbrushes. That was the time when Germany was 1964, 65, 66. Germany was recovering from the war and they were retooling. He picked it there. The man told him, you want it? Take it. The man said, okay, let me take it. And he said, take it for free because I don't know even where to put it. So if you have money to pack it and take it. He took it and started something very humble. From something he picked from a junkyard, today he's the person we consult when we are doing our budget. And he's not a graduate of economics. Some of you have masters in economics, but nobody wants to know because you have limited your scope of vision. You have no vision for yourself. So how do you expect people to ask you about a vision for the country when you have no vision for yourself? So nobody ignores a person of means. So this is what I always tell people. And you don't need billions to start something. You can start with very little money. I was reading a story of Mr. Sebalamo in one of the papers, how he started. He was a hawker. Today he owns half of the malls in the city. It's discipline. One of the biggest problems we have as Ugandans is lack of discipline. When I started the factory, the first thing I do, I put a fence around it and then hire an askari to frisk people to find out what they have stolen. Really, I have visited China, I have visited countries like Malaysia, they don't know that. Their factories are reopened. Nobody is expected to pick a pen because the factory makes pens. No, that's not done. You see, we need, some of you have had a pastor. You should ask yourself, why was it that it was possible for us in the past to do things without having big gates around our homes? Today you find somebody builds a house and the big gates. The first investment is on the fence. A fence which is more expensive than even the house is trying to protect. Instead of building a next house, because the morals in the country are gone down, the gentleman or the lady has to spend the money to build a fence. So are the pastors doing their job? No, I'm not saying they are not. I'm asking, are they doing their job? Or if they are doing their job, are they being effective at it? So those are things that we need to say, okay, we are now 50 years old. Let us use the period as a period of self-evaluation. Why is it that it was possible for the first independence government to use one hotel, Lake Victoria Hotel, as the seed investment to create a chain of hotels in every district that existed there. All the money that built Uganda hotels came from Lake Victoria Hotel.
Now viewers, to close the program, we'll leave you with a very nice song from Pastor Wilson Bugembe, and we would like to thank you for tuning in. Please do the same next week. Tell friends to tell friends and bring more viewers to Uganda Vision. Your host Aida Namazi and the Uganda team, have a good night.
Basasira fe bole bakutya obwana bwa beti obwana we abulese buto nasoba mpola nengenda mu bitoke wajjajja nenkwegayirira mukama yadde mami agenze nenkusaba onfuukire mami ewatali ddade taata nesaba onfuukire ddade era wawulira kati raba panirira nga mami agenze.